Welcome, welcome, welcome. How you doing, fans? How you doing, family? Welcome to the Adassi Boe Show with my main man, Pete. How you doing, brother?
All right. How about yourself? I can't compete with your drink, whatever that Kool-Aid is you're drinking, but I got some good old water with a little bit of plastic in it for flavor.
Sorry to hear about that, brother. Today is a beautiful day. But before we get into our show, I want to dive into a little soliloquy, like into a little monologue, if you'll call it that, or some might even call it a slight rant. I was driving the other day, and while I was driving, I had my music to the nice level. Um, Yeah, it was to a nice level. My air condition, my AC I think was on 68. So I was feeling pretty good. And then I drove out of my driveway. I saw my neighbors. I saw the dogs barking and the birds chirping, or I saw a couple of picket fences. Then I turned out of the neighborhood into the world, and then I got on the road, and immediately somebody pissed me the hell off. What camera are we? Okay, we at this camera. Need everybody to listen to me and listen to me good. If you do not know which blinker you need to turn on, meaning if you're going left, you should signal left. If you're going right, you should signal right. I thought that was freaking elementary. When you're growing up, they tell you before you cross both sides of the streets, look both ways. Look left, look right, look left, and look right again. That's what they tell you to do. So I thought we passed the point as adults with driver's licenses. I thought we knew at least what right and left means. I can't stand fools, idiots. I'm looking for another word that's more respectful.
PJ.
Dumbasses, right? They got on the blinker that says they're going left, but the whole time these idiots are trying to merge to the right lane. Now I'm confused because I don't know what to do. And I can't go around you because there's another idiot behind me who doesn't know what they want to do. And they're waiting on me to decide on what I want to do, but I can't decide on what I want to do because you've taken that right away from me by you being a freaking moron and you're blinking left, but you're going right. You know, and we live in a state where you just can't run down your window and tell people you're a freaking moron because that could be a stand your ground law. All of a sudden, now you're in a shootout because an idiot was blinking left and the whole time was going right. Well, then, unless I'm ready to be in an okay corral, I gotta be upset in my car. Triggers everything because then now I have to turn down my music, and who knows where I was in my music because now I have to find it back. I might have to pause it. I might already be in a rhythm, but now I have to get out of my rhythm to entertain the stupidity that I'm seeing, and now I have to come back into myself. It's just a whole lot. So I'm driving the other day, and and this was actually a guy. Most of the time it's women. But I love our female listeners. I'm sure you guys are great drivers. My experience tell me something different, but I'm sure you guys are great drivers. And this one was a guy. And he was already in a kind of car he shouldn't be in. I would call it compact, but it was a little bit smaller than that. Right? He was probably upset with his life already, right? Maybe he was just saving the environment. All I'm saying is, know where you're blinking. Know where the hell you're blinking, buddy. With that said, Peach, do you get me, brother?
Well, it's funny you mentioned this because earlier today I have a documented phone call with my buddy on the West Coast. If you want to do a percentages of idiots in any state, county, or city, Go to the mall. There's a one lane where you go in where the people are stopping. And there's one lane that they can keep on going straight. No stops is when the people who are going straight that have no stop sign, they're going north to south, and the other people with the stop sign are making a left-hand turn, going back on the major road. Is the people who have no stop sign stop. So this is my new way of finding out what percentages of idiots you have in the neighborhood or in the county, because if you go there, if you're at that stop sign and people stop where there's no stop sign for them to stop, potentially creating an accident. Today it was 7 out of 10, so I figured 70% of the people in my community, they're not going to be candidates for the Mensa Society. Let's just leave it at that.
In this day and age, they just might be. Let's leave it at that, my brother. How's your day going so far, other than that?
So far, so good.
Okay.
What do you got going
This is what I'm
today?
asking. I want to ask you this. It all depends on what you call a sport, too, right? So I'll ask you,
Okay.
what is the best sport like for you to watch? What do you enjoy watching? What sports is your
We're
go-to sport?
gonna exclude the obvious women's beach volleyball. We're gonna exclude that. That's not in the group
Oh,
that we could choose because that's
I
gonna be
have
number one.
I have no answer for you if that's excluded.
Okay, I'm gonna exclude that because that's always that's a separate category. It's like the Michael Jordan, the goats of certain avenues. I'm gonna say the best sport to watch, and if you hear my argument, you might agree. We watch the sport, baseball, basketball, football. It's an exciting sport to watch.
Okay.
We watch a football game, and the score is 40-0 in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
It goes to be an exciting sport. Everybody running the ball up the middle, trying to kill the clock, finish the game. It becomes very boring. In fact, if you're at a game, you'd probably leave early, knowing that there's no comeback going to happen. Baseball is the same thing. Team's up 10-0. What happens? Pitchers throw the ball. Batters are instructed on the team that's leading just to swing at anything, get the game over with.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball is the same thing. They put the scrubs. Bronny James he'll get 10 minutes if the Lakers are up 30 or down 30. So those are not, to me, the best sport. The best sport is hockey, because hockey, it's exciting to watch anyway. But if you want to go to see a real great hockey game, go to a hockey game where it's 5-0 in the last period. When it's 5-0, you get brawls starting all over the place. In the Stanley Cup, the Panthers were playing Edmonton. It was 5-1. And everybody on the ice was fighting at the same time. All 5 players. Sometimes you even see the goalies go at it. And that was fun. That was an exciting game. I have friends there in Florida who called me up and said it was the best game ever. And I'm saying, how could a 5-1 game be the most exciting game ever? There must have been 100 penalty minutes. So I'm going to say hockey, because when the game gets out of hand, that's when you want to watch it.
I totally disagree. But it's your opinion. Like you said, beach volleyball is up there. Female mud wrestling and female car washing. Like, there's a contestant, like female bikini car washing is up there too. No, listen, I'm just, these are sports that I've witnessed. I don't know if they're like legalized sports, but
you would pay pay-per-view, right? Because I know you don't like to pay pay-per-view for UFC matches, but for that you might.
Listen, I like to be there in person to appreciate the quality of the match, But to me, I have to say the best sports. Like maybe it's nostalgia to me, just watching basketball growing up and the MJs, the Charles Barkleys, the Kobe Bryants, the Shaquille O'Neals. When basketball is played the right way, there is nothing like it. To see LeBron James flying through the air, or MJ or Kobe or Giannis, or even just see the Joker do his thing and slow and no athleticism or whatnot, and still dominate a game, and watch Steph Curry when the threes are raining down. It's just the way it feels. For example, you don't remember one game from the Olympic hockey game. You don't remember one game from it.
Other than when the USA beat Russia.
Exactly. But if I ask you, what was your Olympic moment?
I didn't say my favorite sport. I said the
That's not
best
what
sport to
the
go
best
watch.
sports. That's what I'm telling you. I'm about to answer you. In this Olympics that just passed,
I don't even remember. I don't know.
Steph
I mean, you're
Curry,
right. You're right.
Steph
I agree.
Curry,
You're right
Steph
there.
Curry
But
going bananas.
okay, let
Steph
me ask
Curry
you a
going
question.
bananas.
I don't get any text from you or my other hoop fans when the Lakers are down 30. Bronny just entered the game. When they're up 30, Bronny entered the game.
I love Bronny.
Okay. So does LeBron.
Like to me, it's more on the coaching, right? That's more on the coaching and
I mean,
development side.
this is not anti-Bronny. It's just my point is that a basketball game, all sports are great when they're playing at the highest level and it's competitive. But there's probably 25% of the time where it's not competitive, load management, all this other stuff. And hockey, when the game's a blowout, is the best time to be there.
I've been to hockey games. I've been to blowouts. I've even seen a hat trick in person. I believe. I think I remember that. And people start throwing all kind of stuff
Oh, yeah.
onto the ice, right? But you know, if to me, hockey gets when you're there, right? Unless something spectacular is happening, just going back and forth. It's almost
Or
like
there's a blowout.
like so let's not oversell it, right? Let's my point is let's not oversell it. But I will tell you the mud wrestling is very
And your wife doesn't question why you're at the laundromat at like 2 in the morning,
no, because
washing your dirty slacks.
not at all.
And she don't have to do the washing the clothes, right? So she's happy.
Not at all. Not at all. You know, it even to be more on that, right? What do you think about um I look at female sports and men's sports. Let's take basketball. Let's take soccer. And you
Oh, the
hear well,
female soccer, the female soccer was really good in this country for a
let
while
me
there.
let me finish. Let me finish. I
All
know
right.
Mia. I remember Mia Hamm. I remember that whole Chastain and all that. Yeah, like those are my girls. But do you believe they should be getting paid as men, right? And I'm talking about even basketball, WNBA, and the soccer leagues, and baseball is softball, right? So it's not really baseball, it's softball. But what are your outlook on that? What do you think about that?
I believe you should get paid what your economic value is for anything. If you're a world class chef, get paid the top dollar. The women's soccer team, they were getting ripped off here because the men's team was making more money than the women's team, and nobody cared about the men's team too much. But when the women's team showed their economic value, then they got paid. Just like Caitlin Clark, she's getting paid because her value to the league is astronomical. So I would just say any sport, any person, whatever your economic value is what you should get paid. I don't think they should get paid. A man if nobody watches them, and the economic doesn't substantiate it, obviously they shouldn't get paid.
I believe that's where I'm coming. I mean, theoretically, right? You know where I am. You know how I feel about my policies or whatever. Everybody should get paid what they earn. I don't think anybody should get messed over. But when you bring up even the USA soccer team, to me they were better than the men's team, right? As far as relatively, because they was winning World Cup after World Cup. But the
Yeah, they were
issue
great.
is that advertising dollars were not the same as men. So basically, they're not going to get from the same pool as men. Now, if they wanted to combine both pools together, right, and then pay them from the same pool, I'm not against that. But when they are separating them and doing it that way, you're gonna see that because men just command more dollars. It is
Yeah.
just what it is, right? When it comes to sports, and when you look at the WNBA, I mean, I love CC, right? I think Asia Wilson is a beast. I think Sabrina Ionesco. I like the Ogunyake twins. I just like. There's a lot of very good WNBA players, even great relatively to their sport, great like superstars in their sport. And I think you're right. You know, I think they are being ripped off, right? Get year, you know what I'm saying? But the reason why that is because NBA is still paying for the WNBA, and their advertising dollars wasn't where it was until Caitlin Clark came in. So that was the collective bargaining that was signed for them, right? When the NBA did this. So now when they do a new collective bargaining, I'm sure their salaries will increase.
Well, hopefully for them, because of Caitlin Clark, she's bringing everybody into the restaurant, as to speak, and the people are going to like what they see, and they're going to start getting more fans who, when the superstars are off or hurt, like she has been, they're still going to go to the games and enjoy it and watch it on TV, and they'll make a lot of money.
See,
Well, we'll
An-
see.
Angel Reese is she's a lightning rod in some circles, but
Yeah.
she's also a draw, right? Because her jersey's like the fifth highest selling jersey, fifth or fourth in the WNBA. So she has her draw as well, right? But it's really all about CC, right? It's really all about Caitlin Clark. And the WNBA, a lot of people resented her because she's white, because they felt like other black athletes wasn't getting their just due. I agree with that, but other white wasn't getting their just due as well, right? It's like I said, Sabrina in that school was she's a dog. Ogunyake, they're dogs like Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart or Skylar Diggins Smith, like all of these female players, they're very good, but they weren't selling. They weren't selling the league. These two young ladies are selling the league, especially Caitlin Clark. That's why she had a 20 something million deal from Nike, right? She's with Kobe, doing her shoes just came out. Like, my whole point is, that's how they're gonna get paid. And instead of them so mad and being jealous, right? And they need to embrace her and protect her. That's what these players need to do
Do you
because
know? Do you know how Ty Cobb got? Going back to baseball, Ty Cobb, you might never heard of him. He played, Hall of Fame from
I know
1920s,
Ty
I
Cobb
guess.
was good,
Yeah.
was a great
So
hitter.
somebody went to see somebody else at the high school, or wherever school Ty Cobb went to, and Ty Cobb got 5 hits against the pitcher who they went to see. So for all these other girls in the league, good. Somebody's going to go see Caitlin Clark. If somebody hits 7 threes, they're going to leave the game saying, "Wow, whoever it is, they hit 7 threes," and that they may get a fan, and that's how it's going to work for them. But at least now they have an avenue where they are going to be seen by people.
Yeah, but a lot of them are very short sighted. They believe, oh, there was already stars in the WNBA. And Taurasi was a star, right? Cheryl Swoops was a star, right? Tina Thompson, Cynthia Cooper, Lisa Leslie, they were all stars. Don Staley, they were all stars, but they didn't sell a freaking thing. You get what I'm saying? So my point is, there were stars in the league, WNBA, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, but nobody was talking about it like when Cece came in, right? And then the other issue is if if these female sports wants to be more successful, more women need to support them, right? Because men are trying, but sometimes it's hard to follow the game because men expect more, right?
Yeah,
But women are not supporting the game like they should.
very good point.
That's a
You get
that's
the
just
point. You get the point. You get the point of the week. Get you a
that's
free cup of coffee somewhere where it's under $1.
hopefully I can take that to Vegas, tell them I got the point of the week, right? So what is your opinion on tipping? Like are you
Okay.
a big tipper when you tip? Are you stingy?
I'm
Or
not
how are
stingy.
you?
No, I usually overtip, and the reason why I overtip is because of the extortion factor. Now you're going to say, what's an extortion factor? If you don't know what an extortion factor is, I want you to go to the restaurant, have $100 bill, and tip the guy $2, and come back the next day and ask for. Let's say the guy did a great, and ask for the same waiter. This is where the extortion factor comes in. I know, being a waiter before in my college days, what happens to people that do not tip. I have firsthand knowledge. I had a guy once. I can give you some horrible stories, and I'll
I
try to
rather
keep
not.
them.
I
Well,
rather not.
I'll give you a couple ones. One time, the customer gave me a dollar bill and says, "Give this to the cook." That's a long time ago, but a dollar bill even then was not a tip. The cook looked at it. He ripped it up in a million pieces. He moved it around the guy's shrimp scampi and pulled out the dollar, and the guy brought it out to the customer. So people do stuff to your food if you do not tip. So there's the extortion factor there. I would rather give it to something where I see a kid, especially a kid who's working at maybe their first job working the register. They're not making much money. So, it's like $8, $8.29. I'll give them a 10 and say keep it. I'd rather over tip on a lesser bill than over tip on a big bill. But I think tipping is good. Just remember, when it comes to waiters and waitresses, anybody in the service industry, that's its own entity because that's just basically extortion money so that they don't ruin or do something to your food. And unfortunately, I know.
Well,
Yourself?
well, to me, I I believe in tipping generously, right? Because it's all about customer service. You feel like I want to. Somebody's bringing me food or drinks, whatever it is. I want to feel like I have a good report person. I don't want you bringing me out something to eat, right? Because then, you know. So when it comes to that, yeah, I like to tip, but then again, if your service is not up to par, like for example, when you come into a restaurant and they sit you down, there's certain things they're supposed to do. Either bring you some like snacks, have like some bread, whatever that's there in the restaurant, ask you if you want something to drink, give you the menu so you can sit down and think about what you want. Those are the bare minimum. Do we agree?
Yes.
If you skip any of those because they're busy, I don't know what to tell you.
They already lost you.
So now you have to make it back. But I am such a good guy that
Well, part of the problem with tipping is if you get, let's say people say 20% is a good tip. So let's say somebody does a bad job and you give them 13%. In their mind, they're thinking, hey, that customer's a cheapskate. They're not thinking, hey, maybe I should do something better next time.
I,
So you're not really helping their career choice.
I
You'd be
feel
better
like
off giving
hold
them
on,
nothing so then they
hold on,
reevaluate their career.
hold on, Pete. I feel like you've gotten a lot of unpleasant looks. I feel like you really know this subject very well. So
No,
continue, brother.
one time I had a busboy, and he was a young kid, and he gave me some pasta, minestrone soup. That was his duty, I guess. So he just took the stock out of and poured it in my cup. No broth, just the stock. So he thought he was doing me a favor, which he was. I appreciated the fact that the kid was trying to look out for me, and his manager started yelling at him. I got up, I stood up in front of the restaurant. There was a bunch of tables. I says, the only good worker you have in this lousy restaurant is this kid. And I took out a $10 bill and handed it to him.
So
Because
so you made a stand with $10,
well, given the busboy was probably making $4 an hour.
but you
He
made
was,
a stand with $10. If you're gonna stick it to somebody, let it be a 20 at least.
well, it's a long time ago.
The guy probably looked at the $10 like this fucking cheapskate.
No, the kid was like 12 years old. He must have been like the
It
older
doesn't
son or something.
matter. What do you think he's gonna tell you? You think he's gonna call you a cheapskate to me?
No, that was a good tip for a busboy, $10. If you give a busboy $10, they're not getting no $10 tips. The waiter gets the tips. The busboy gets whatever the waiter feels is deemed for them.
Oh my god! You made a stand with. I'm just saying, if you're gonna make a stand and call out the manager, at least you gotta stick it to it at least a dub, but at least a 20. You just
Well,
can't say
it was a long time ago.
listen. You can't excuse what it is. You can't excuse it. But I get it. I get your point. It's so funny that I was reading something a while back. There was a lady that actually got fired because she got like $1,000 tip or something like that, maybe like a 10,000 or $1,000 tip, and then it was just for her, and then the manager wanted her to split it with her
Oh,
coworkers, and and she said no, and then he ended up firing her. But then the public created a GoFundMe for her, and then I think the manager ended up getting fired himself by the company, and then she got rehired. Like they gave her a job back, and I think she became.
unless it's spelled out. I mean, if it's spelled out, whatever you do,
I think she became the manager. I think she became the manager.
I
You
never
know,
wanted to share my tips with other waiters. I'm like, you know what? Whatever I do on my own merit, let me get a good tip or no tip or whatever. I
yeah.
don't want to share somebody else's
Yeah, but
tip
why
who
would you
might
be
be.
sharing tip unless it's a
Some
bucket?
restaurants do that. Some
Unless
restaurants
it's
do
a
that. They
bucket,
share the tips.
unless it's a bucket, right? That you could put tips in for everybody, like a tip jar. That's different. But if I want to tip somebody individually, it shouldn't have to
No,
share
a
that
lot of restaurants do that. They share the
because
tips.
they're thieves. Because
Oh
they don't pay their they
yeah,
don't pay them right. So now they're like everybody's sharing each other's money.
yeah.
So now these guys are telling on each other. Hey, I was supposed to get $15 from Peach. I was supposed to get 30 from Ty. Like it's just these guys are just
Yeah, the owners when nobody's looking are like go back and go vacuum the floor, and then you take the money. They take
yeah,
their cut off the top.
off always factual. Yeah, I want the public to chime in on that, right? What is a good tip? What is a good percentage? Because to me, I don't go by percentage. I mean, I have one by percentage because in this day and age they spell it out for you, right? And because to me, 20% over.
There's not even that many $20 meals anymore either.
Hey, I can get a cup of water, and I mean a couple of appetizers, and I'll be just fine,
Yeah.
right?
So
I'm
yeah,
just
I
saying.
mean, I think I know what you're saying. Like the way, let's say you go to a restaurant and your bill's $50 and you give 20%, which is $10. But then you go to the bar and get two drinks. The guy hands you two drinks and it's like $40. Like the guy the bartender did a lot less labor than the guy walking back to the kitchen bringing you the bread and the water. So why should the bartender get the same
It just to
percentage?
me, it's just based off
Yeah,
the feel for me.
I'd rather
So
give the little bit of labor. The one that does more labor, the more of the tip.
yeah, but then again, sometimes you might be going to home to something you need to be drunk from. So
Yeah.
if the bartender makes it right, you want to you want to tip them, that yeah, you never know.
They even try to get rid of that with bartenders. They have those where they do the shots and it's measured. So even if you give the bartender a good tip, you're not getting any more liquor in your drink. They're like measured shots.
That's why you have to get a good buzz before you leave home. Get yourself a nice couple of shots before you leave home. So when you go there, you're just sipping through, right? Just get yourself a nice buzz. Don't drink and drive. Take a other means of transportation. I'm not promoting. Um, with that being said, I want to ask you a question on this, and we're going to cover this in on a whole spectrum by itself on another episode. But what relationship, right? Like, should there be a power dynamic in a relationship based on income? Is it a 50? Should it be? Do you believe in a 50-50 or 60-40? And if there is a power dynamic, who should have that dynamic, and why is there one?
I would say everybody brings something to the table. Whatever you're good at, that if you're with somebody, you just have to accept that they may not be good, or maybe make the money you make, or maybe make more than you make, but maybe you're good at something else. As long as everybody's happy in whatever they're doing, and it doesn't start becoming lopsided to where one person's feeling like I'm doing more, I'm contributing more. When it reaches that point, then something has a talk or whatever has to be done. We're not marriage counselors, but when it starts shifting where somebody feels that their value or their worth is becoming more than 50% in the relationship, not being that type of thing. I would say that. Not that it answers your question, but
So, do you believe in a 50-50, 60? Like, what do you believe in the power dynamics? Because
I believe it until somebody feels they're in like they're not being taken advantage of. So it might be For you, you might have like, okay, I'm going to be 60% in the relationship. I don't mind washing the dishes and working and doing this, and I'm 60%. But you say, you know what? It's 60-40. I'm happy with that. Now, if you're not happy at 60-40, then it's a problem. But I think it should be at the very minimum. If somebody's not happy, then it has to be at least 50-50.
Okay.
You know, what number is good for you? I have friends who do the same thing where not all friends are the same. Some people are givers, some are takers, but as long as they're within that range that I don't feel it's a problem to me, I can handle that. But everybody has their own level, their own percentage that in life or anything that they feel they're being taken advantage
Their
of.
own
And
lim- their own limit to a certain thing, to
exactly.
a certain point. To me, I believe to each his own. Basically, but I don't believe money should possess the dynamic power. Should have a be a paradigm shift because of money, right? I don't believe that's.
I
I
agree.
don't believe that's. I don't believe that's ethical or that could help your relationship in any way. Now, um, because depending on what you value, like if my significant other if she makes you know $200,000 a year, let's just you know I she wants me to be home with the kids more, meaning pick them up from school because she already have her career go. Excuse me. I don't mind doing that if that's something we both agree on. But
Yeah, that's what I mean.
uh,
Exactly. That's exactly what I mean. As
yeah,
long as everybody's happy with
yeah,
it,
I would still try to
I'd like
find.
to see the people at home just reply and say something like been in a marriage and put a percentage of what you feel like that you contribute toward the marriage and like maybe like 50% very happy, 50% not fair or whatever. Just make your own comments to see what you think your marriage is. I'm curious to see what number everybody has who's happy and everybody who has who's not happy, just to see like an informal type of thing.
And I would still probably try to find I can do for myself, right? But my focus would be the home. I don't think that makes me any less of a man. It just means I'm more focused on I'm protect that. That doesn't mean my wife doesn't come home and cook sometimes, or my
Yeah.
girl doesn't come home and cook. So I love to cook, so I'll do some cooking. But my point is that doesn't mean she's still not a woman. She still have
No.
to do because like I said, if this is what we talked about, we have to make some parameters to make sure we still do know our roles. But because you're working more than I am, I'm gonna help out with more of your role than
Yeah,
you'll help
that's
out with
fine.
me.
And
You
you
get
can
what I'm
still
saying?
go to the mud wrestling if you want.
I
So
would
that's
never,
worth
mi-
it. That's
I would
worth
never,
3%.
I would never miss it. I would never miss it. Because somebody has to report. Because one thing you're missing is the technique. You know, like big chested Brenda, right? It's a super Brenda, like they call her in the ring. You know, super Brenda has in which you know no woman has ever came back from this move. Is where she looks the other woman away by almost jumping in a way so the boobs will go up and then the other woman eyes will go up and they'll be
And if
distracted
it's a smack,
and then she'll just boom and then when she hits them right it's the boobs are so big that she swings with the boobs as well and the head is until proven guilty
you're
you
right.
know with that said thank you guys for joining us today. Please leave a comment on uh the percentages and what you guys think about tipping. Comment on the relationships. Let us know what you guys
And your
think.
favorite sport to watch or whatever your
Favorite
favorite sport.
sports to watch, and also the dynamics in female sports, right? And then let us know. Let me know about my early morning rant, right? So let me know about that. Thank you guys for joining us. We're glad to be doing this, and we're growing. And again, do everything that I will do. How about it, Peach?
Over and out.
That was great, brother.